Welcome back to the crisis between Russia and Ukraine. A state of emergency has been declared in Russia's Belgorod region as Ukraine continues its cross-border incursion. The governor of Belgorod, Vyacheslav Gladkov, says daily Ukrainian shelling is destroying homes and killing civilians. This comes as Ukraine's incursion into the Kursk region enters its second week. Kyiv says it now controls 74 towns and several villages there. The surprise attack into Russian territory began on August the 6th and is Ukraine's deepest and most significant incursion into the country since Moscow's full-scale invasion began in 2022. Russia's President Vladimir Putin has accused Ukraine of committing crimes against Russian people and said Kyiv would receive what he called a worthy response. Meanwhile, the European Union's top diplomat, Josep Borrell, says Ukraine has the full support of the bloc in its incursion into Russia. His is the first comment since thousands of Ukrainian troops invaded the Russian regions of Kursk and Belgorod. Mr. Borrell says he discussed with Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmitry Kuleba on the latest developments on the front line, reiterating the EU's support to the Ukrainian people's fight. Until now, both the European Union and the United States have sidestepped inquiries about their role in Ukraine's cross-border offensive, saying that it was up to Kyiv to use the weapons, equipment, and ammunition the West has provided. Let's talk to the VOA's Anna Chernikova in Kyiv. Anna, the Ukrainians must be ecstatic about progress on the invasion, even though authorities say they have no intentions of administering the towns and cities overrun by Ukrainian forces. What's the messaging back home about developments in Russia?
Well, definitely Ukrainian society is excited because I had a chance to talk to people who live in Sumy, the city which is 30 kilometers from the Kursk, from the border with Russia in the Kursk region, and actually the city from where Ukrainian forces were entering, the region from where Ukrainian forces were entering the territory of the Kursk region. And these people, they are more than two and a half years, they live under the constant shelling and extremely intensive shelling because Russian forces use artillery, use aerial bombs, use missiles and drones, and this territory is really heavily damaged, and people are heavily injured, not only physically but also mentally. And these people are saying that, well, nothing is changing to us. Russia continues the shelling, but at least we can see that there is a hope for certain change because people see this incursion as a chance for this war to actually to stop. As one of the Sumy citizens said to us, that actually it's not a war when it is happening only on one side. So a lot of people in Ukraine consider this actions, this operation in the Kursk region by Ukrainian forces as demonstration to Russia and Russian people, first of all, that the war is real and the war is, it's not a special military operation as Putin is calling it, but it is an actual war and it is happening on the territory of Russia as well. And actually a lot of experts also believe that the only real possibility for two countries, two sides to sit at the negotiation table, or at least if it's going to be not a table but just negotiations, peace talks, more chances to start these peace talks is unfortunately when the war is happening everywhere and the war is happening on both sides. So I think that Ukrainians are seeing this from this perspective, and well, it is understandable that people are extremely tired of the war, and people just want to see Ukrainian forces strong, and this exactly is a demonstration of the strength of the Ukrainian forces.
Change in dynamics in this war. Ukraine was being pressed into a corner, boxed into a corner, if you want to call it that. And all of a sudden, troops are in Russia causing panic among government institutions. What's the plan here for the Ukrainian troops on how to ensure the victories are sustained?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. For almost a year now, not much was changing at the front lines, and also this was creating additional, additional difficulties for Ukrainians to realize that this could last for as long as it could last. But here, well, it's really, none of us probably can say what is the plan behind, because Ukrainian armed forces and Ukrainian officials do not really comment on anything except of, commenting something that has already happened. So, of course, no one will tell the plan. But again, according to the analytics and expert and what I've heard from experts regarding that, there are several main goals that Ukraine might be looking for. First of all, actually to draw Russian forces from Donbass, from the eastern front line, as well as from the southern front line, because we have to understand here that actually Ukrainian forces used very well equipped brigades and very professional servicemen to conduct Kursk operation. So Russian forces, they won't be able just to use unprepared forces to actually fight Ukrainian forces in the Kursk region. They will have to get their experienced forces out from the front line in Ukraine, and this most probably would be eastern and southern front line, especially eastern front line, where we see the concentration of the Russian forces the main concentration, and the most experienced brigades and servicemen of the Russian forces are concentrated there. So one of the goals is to actually draw those people from the Ukrainian front line in the east, and to create additional opportunities for Ukrainian forces to counter attack there, or to at least have win time to create better defense. Also to demonstrate, and it's actually quite also important for Ukraine especially, to demonstrate that Russia is not that strong as the reputation behind Russia is in the military context, and that Russia has its own weaknesses, that Russia has its own, can panic, that Putin's power is not that absolute as everyone saw it before. So basically to demonstrate to the allies that Ukraine should be supported, and that Ukraine should get whatever it needs to continue this fight. And of course, one of the important goals, which possibly is behind this, is to create a certain bargaining coin for future peace talks, so that Ukraine has some important points at the table.
And the EU's foreign policy chief says the bloc fully supports the Ukrainian attack on Kursk. Could we attribute recent gains to military support from Western allies?
I think this should probably be considered, definitely, because as we can see, as soon as we get final official confirmation of F-16s, arrival of F-16s, Kursk operation happened. So, of course, no one have seen F-16 in Kursk, and no one have seen the use of Western weapons in Kursk on the territory of Russia, but we understand that this equipment is supporting the front line on the territory of Ukraine and other directions. So basically, Ukraine has better chances to use either its own equipment or equipment which allies agreed on to use in the Kursk offensive. So definitely yes, because of course, without assurance by the Ukrainian armed forces, the Ukrainian military, that they have enough capacities for certain goals that they've set to be accomplished and to be met, I guess it would have been not possible to begin this operation, because we all understand that at this point we don't understand, of course, how far Kyiv would get, and if Kyiv would be able to actually keep the positions, the taken positions, and remain there. But at least, it is understanding that probably the plan. There are certain plans and allies support, allies equipment is definitely has an important role here.
Right, and Anna, has the development slowed Russian attacks on Ukraine these past few days?
Well, according to the reports, not much. There are some areas and there are some, separate situations when we can say that, well, it's easier in that or in this and or that context. For example, if we're talking about massive shelling, they did not happen for the past weeks. If we're talking about drone attacks, they're happening every night, but mainly it's not across the whole country, but different directions separately. And according to military analysts and according to Ukrainian military and intelligence, Russian authorities just started to take some of their servicemen from different directions at the front line in Ukraine. So at this point, according again to the reports available, not much have changed yet. But we will be keeping our eyes on this, because definitely certain changes are expected. And today, Ukrainian intelligence and actually international intelligence, certain international intelligence is also reported that it was recorded that Russian forces been moved, part of the forces been moved from the Ukrainian territory to Kursk.
And the attack on the Zaporizhia nuclear plants, both sides taking the blame. There used to be a lot of concern about the volatility of the region and what an attack there could mean for the rest of Europe. Are those concerns still valid?
Definitely they are. We are talking here about the biggest nuclear power plant in Europe, and even in a state of almost full freeze. It's not in a full freeze because it's it's really bad for such station to be in a full freeze. Then when afterwards it would be extremely difficult to bring it back to work. But it's almost in a full freeze. Just one block is operating, and other blocks are on the support power. But anyway, we're talking here about an extremely difficult nuclear facility and nuclear objects, a huge one. And if anything happens, of course, again, energy experts who I had a chance to talk to, they explain that the risks are not that high as they were before and as they were even last year, for example. But there are risks. And, comparing to last year, this risk might be lower. But if we just look at this risk, they are huge. So definitely this is an object that should be treated very careful, and definitely not be full of military equipment and explosives.
Anna, thank you for those updates, and please keep safe.
Thank you.